can use lots of data. So if you don't have free data, so what I would do is just stop, let's just not use your computer for class today.
Sure.
But when you get home, launch it and you sign in and let it sit overnight. So you have to download and index, and that takes a little.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
So same thing here.
Which is great.
So it's working. Alright, so that computer's working. Your computer's set up. I think all the basic troubleshooting's good.
So what happens when turn off the hotspot?
Oh, you can turn off. You're not using internet. It's indexing locally. It pulled all the data over. Okay, you downloaded it.
Good to go.
Awesome. There's a lot of computing power in this room. I like it. A lot of computing power in this room. Doesn't that feel good?
I feel safe. I feel safe.
All right. I should probably launch Logos, seeing as how this is a Logos class. All right. Well, welcome back. Welcome back to the Logos class. And as soon as my computer starts doing its thing, we'll get started. Is it recording yet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. We should probably stop it and not record it quite yet.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm
Unless
gonna
it's-
edit it. So.
Okay, you can edit it. All right. So, did anybody have any problems that you want to discuss, or anything that we covered last week? So last week was just the basics: setting up prioritized resources, creating a basic layout, opening up a Bible, and starting to get familiar with your Bible screen. Did anybody have any problems or any questions before we get started based on that process?
Are you going to go over highlighting words and stuff like that again?
Oh, I don't think we got to highlighting words yet, and that is on the docket for today.
Okay.
So this is my this is just where my Logos opened up. I'm just going to show you a common problem you might come into. I was doing a study on Trinity in 1 Corinthians 11:3. This is just where my Logos opened up last time, but I don't want to be here. I can go through and close every screen, or I go up to layouts and click on blank, right? And now it's gone. That's why we created the blank layout. And then after you do that, make sure you go up and you close active layout. Otherwise, it'll save everything you do under blank. Okay? Just showing you, rehashing what we did to start. So, last week, what we did, because we want to be really careful, one of the things Logos can do for you is it can serve to distract you. Right? Logos can be a great, great tool, or Logos can be an incredible distraction. Logos can help you understand God's Word, or Logos can serve to actually keep you away from God's Word and reading other stuff in it, poking around with cool things. So that's why from the start of the class, what we're going to be focusing on. Those things are not bad, but we want to make sure that at least in this class we got how do we study the Bible with Logos. So what we're setting up, remember, is a good layout for Bible study. So what we had last week, I believe, we had your favorite Bible, which you can save across the top here. You can save any resource or any layout on this top bar.
How do we do that again?
What you would do, that's a good question. So let's say that I want to save a layout called blank here. I can just take this, drag it up to this top bar. I'm going to stick it over here. And now, whenever I click on this icon, it will launch my blank layout. Alternatively, I have some books that I like to read. I have some Bibles up here. You have the icon. So I'm going to open my ESV. So you can do that with any resource. You just take the resource, drag it up there. You see how to do that? And it's up in your quick launch bar. You can do that from your let me get off this. You can do that from your screen here. If we wanted to put, let I'm just going to put something up there.
What window is this? Is documents or?
No, this is your library window. So from a library window, really from any window, anything that can open up, you can put up there. But let's say I wanted to put this book on my quick launch. You just grab it from the library window and drag it up and drop it. To undo it, you do the double click and hit delete. Okay?
Jacob, I tried to put my reading plan up there so it'd be real quick to get, but I couldn't quite figure out how
I have never done that. Let's see if it's even doable. It is doable.
Yeah.
So you grab it from this tab, and then you drop it right there, and now there's the reading plan. Okay? Now the deal with the reading plans is it's not so important that you put it there, because on your home page, along the left, if you arrange it that way, which you do from up here, you see up on your home page, which is this home, your reading plans will always appear here along with your prayer list.
And they do, but is that where I drag it from?
Nope. You drag it to open a reading plan. You go to your documents, go to your reading plan, and then open it. That's the way that you'd open it in your calendar view. Okay, does that make sense? And that's the way you can do it. But the other way that you can do that is from the home page. If the home page is annoying to you and you want to get rid of certain things, before we get started, since I brought up the home page, I'll show you this. You just click on this little wheel icon if you're running a new version. If you're running 5, your wheel icon, I believe, is down here. Your settings icon is on the lower left, I think, on 4 and 5, and it's on the upper right and 6. And you click there, and you would just turn on and off what the options that you don't want to appear there. Okay. So one thing that's nice about this is they'll usually advertise free books. It's more of an advertising page. You can get lost there, but it can show you some of the pre-pubs, your prioritized devotions. I showed you how to prioritize things in that video last week. Your prioritized devotionals will appear on this page. And then the thing that I really use it for is your prayers and your reading plan will show on this page. Other than that, I find that page annoying. And you can choose whether or not to use that page up in your tools and program settings. You can actually choose how you want it to start up. When you start up, you can start up to home, blank layout, most recent, or anything. Okay, so if you don't want it opening up to your home page, which I don't, I have it just start up to my most recent layout. So now we're going to get started with setting up your layout for your Bible reading plan.
So I don't remember you talking about like on the homepage like the prayers and
We haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, I thought. Okay.
Oh, the devotional was on the video that I did. The video tutorial that's on
Oh,
YouTube.
okay, gotcha.
In your list of prioritized resources, remember from this screen, from your resources,
Okay.
over in prioritize, I put them at the very bottom. You can prioritize devotional resources, which I have here. It's things that have like a daily reading.
Oh.
One thing that I've done in the past that was very nice if you're doing McShane's, For the Love of God, if you're familiar with that, For the Love of God by D.A. Carson. Right here, that's a devotional that actually has links to the whole McShane's plan in it and has comments throughout. So if you were to prioritize that resource, open it to that day, you can have links, because For the Love of God is just a devotional book that uses McShane's reading plan. Very good if you are using McShane's. I've done that in years past. But anyway, we haven't gotten anywhere close to. Now we're going to get back to setting up the Bible reading plan. This is where we were last time. When we left, I had us create a layout, I believe. I called it Jacob's Bible Reading Plan. You guys hopefully have been using it throughout the week. Open up that now. So what we had done before was we had a Bible, we had a note file, and the information screen over to the far right. Those are some very useful resources. You don't have to create a Bible reading screen like I do, but this is a setup that I've found to be helpful. We're going to add some things to it now. Does anybody have any problems getting your screen to look similar to mine, or have any questions about it?
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you get to?
Can you just remind me how you make the font bigger?
Yeah, that's a good question. So all of the settings for this window, all of the fonts are window specific. So anything that's window specific, right? Because I might want the font on my Bible to be big, font on notes to be small, fonts on this to be. Those are always going to be in the upper left of the window. So you would click there, and then you have the font size dragger. I have no idea what you call that. You just drag to set your font. And again, some of the things that we were talking about this before, your columns are important. If you have multi-column, scrolling does not work. What you have to do is spacebar. So it's designed more like a page where you read to the end. And then when you get to the last word on a columned page, you hit spacebar. If you want to go back, shift spacebar, and that takes you back. Okay? The way that you know if you're on that kind of setting is you have two arrows on the bottom and multiple columns. If you prefer scrolling, you can say columns none, and now you can scroll. Okay? That throws some people for a loop sometimes.
Me.
I wasn't going to name names, Barb. Okay?
So yeah, columns and scrolling are connected.
So columns, yep. If you're in columns, you cannot scroll, but you can hit spacebar to advance. If you're scrolling, spacebar won't advance. Okay. And this is the same function as you'll find in your mobile app. Okay, on your mobile app, you can set columns. The mobile app is set to turn pages, just like this. So you'd swipe. There is a scrolling setting as well on the mobile app.
Yeah, we're not there.
Okay.
So sorry, I was
That's okay.
here and I'm not sure where.
So maybe you guys. It's okay. I'll get you there really. So I'm just going to get you there really fast. So do you have a Bible here?
Yep.
Do you have see if you have a note file? Which note file do you want to use? Just Tom's notes, or we'll just do untitled notes? And we will call this. Is that okay? And then. And then tools, information. And I know that things look different if you're running version 4 or version 5, so rather than sitting quiet and struggling, just let me know if you're lost. So you did not create a blank layout because you weren't here last time.
Sam just heard Ashley. That's what you get for doing that class. She needs to count this money.
How do I open it up? How do I open the program?
Okay, so what you do?
Blank, so you can layout. Say this name layout. Now what's nice is now your blank layout. So now your blank layout, you want to get rid of everything you put there. So now what we're going to do, what's your favorite Bible? ESV and
Go to documents further.
drag this.
What did you do?
So now you can make documents.
And then drag that.
Do you have any?
Break it up. Okay.
Oh, to create some.
We're going to create a new note file. Okay? You just call this.
Oh, that's how you're looking at. Oh, I don't know how to control Z is how you undo the diagramming. Control Z. Or you could just close it.
So that we would be okay, Jacob, they wanna save this as not workspace plan, but their way of doesn't, like mine, say save it.
There you go.
Yep, so you go to your layout.
There and.
So on layout, I'll let you go right So one quick wait there. Alright, so now you're running version 4, version 5.
I know, I mean, I learned how to, oh, there it is, they said all these template markers, like from free stuff, maybe probably does that.
Was there?
Bible reading plan.
It is, yeah, the inductive markings,
Yes.
yeah, I saw that when I was.
And you can tweak them to make them exactly how you want.
Okay, got it.
I have played around with that.
Yeah. So it's that little one right there.
Oh my goodness, I can receive that.
No, it's a little different on theirs. So, alright, so I think we're,
So now when it's all the way
Scott
like
uses, he
this,
does all his reading. I don't think I've ever marked the Bible yet.
you can, I'll show you how to mark up the Bible, and you can hide it with the click of a button. So you're free to mark it up all you want, and you can take it away or show it.
So now will it mean that Scott can see his marks but not mine?
You guys can make separate palettes, so that you can have Sarah markup, Sarah inductive, or Scott inductive. And you can turn them off and on, exactly. I will show you that when we get to our, and we're gonna be doing that today, we're gonna go through marking up
Okay.
a book in the Bible, okay? Alright, so I think we're finally back to where we left last class, and that's good that we got here. Everybody there. Alright, so just to rehash, what we have is we have a Bible window. And again, you don't need to open many other windows because just with a hover of your mouse, you'll find information about the Greek down on the lower left, or Hebrew, if you're in a Hebrew Bible. Teaching what all that is beyond the scope of this class, but you'll also, over in the info window, like so if you hover over the word dead, over in the info window, just to rehash, you're going to see a lot of information. That's why we have the information window, because that means you're not going to be opening a lot of books. In the background, this will just go scanning your books. So it'll show you exactly how it's translated in every other version, or say remembered. See over here on the right on the info window, if you hover over the word remembered, you can see that in most versions it's remembered, and some it's recalled. It'll look it up in all the lexicons.
Jacob,
Go ahead.
when you want to see how it's translated, is it easier for you to look on the information or to do the right arrow and actually bring up the different translations?
For a Bible comparison
Or
tool?
yeah, if you
Yeah,
want to.
let's do that. So here's an alternative way if you're going to be looking at comparing translations. Everybody should have a tool called the text comparison tool. This-
I'm sorry, can't you just push the right arrow and it'll just bring up the different?
You can do that as well.
Which do you think is easier to do?
I think that if you're comparing a whole verse, or are you comparing the words?
A whole verse.
A whole verse, I would say that probably the easiest would be the text comparison tool, especially if you put that in the background. So open up your text comparison tool, and we can stick that over here on the same panel as your information screen. Does that make sense? So it's not there all the time. You can just cycle. If you say, oh, I want to see all that verse in context,
And how did you put that there? Oh, I see.
go to your tools.
It's there already, it's there already.
It's there already.
Okay, so then you can leave it up.
You can leave it up.
Okay.
Close.
Oh, you're close. Yeah.
Does that make sense? That's another powerful tool to keep you in the text. And you can have that over there. You can put that as its own window or not, but you don't need that. If you're hovering over, say, the word destroy here, and you see the way that the word is translated, destroy is a bad one, it's translated destroy and everything, but when you hover over the verse, Chris, look over here, when you have the info window up, you can hover over the verse and it will show you the verse,
Right.
the version,
Right.
in the various translations. So it
Do you
just
think
depends.
that's easier than?
It just depends. So then the other way, so there's multiple ways to do the exact same thing. Do whatever you want. The other way now, if we're looking at this and you wanted to read it in another version, everybody push your right arrow. Make sure that you've selected your Bible, the Bible window. You'll know that because it's more solid up top. And then push your right arrow. and then you'll go to your next prioritized Bible version. That's one of the reasons why you want to have prioritization down.
Press on
No, not the right, not right click, right arrow on the keyboard.
A right arrow. Oh, and it'll keep going past your own.
It will keep going past your prioritizations, and what it's doing is it's actually cycling through all your parallel resources.
How do I get rid of that on here?
I just left click anywhere outside of that.
Oh, it's interesting. It's not keeping them all opening. It's just got one window that's cycling.
Right, it's one window that's cycling through. That's a good way to spot check. Just, I wonder what that other version says. Or, if you have a commentary open, and you've had prioritized list of commentaries, you've read one, you want to go to the next, you can just right arrow, it will bounce to the next commentary that's a parallel resource.
You hit the left arrow, then you go back.
Left arrow to go back, correct. Left and right arrow, that's the function of it. What that does is that honors your parallel resources. We're going to add two more screens before we actually get into reading the Bible. So one thing that you might want to do, some people we were talking about how to compare Bible versions, you may want to have a Bible version side by side. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my ESV and my NASB. So everybody open up two Bible versions together. You see, mine put them on the same panel. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to grab one, pull it to the side, and it's going to auto-column it for me. You do this same thing, and you can do rows or columns. I prefer columns because it's hard to read across a long screen.
So you take it over here?
Yeah,
There.
so however you want.
Is there a way to have it set so that everything on the layout sticks with the verse you are? Because I'm kind of on different
Yeah.
chapters on the mouse here.
That is a great segue, Sarah, because that is what I'm going to say right now. So Sarah's problem was, do you want to manually enter the verse every time? I scroll over on this left window, and I'm not scrolling here, and I'm not scrolling here, right? All three of my windows are in a different place. How would I fix that? What you can do is you can go to this window, and there's an area up here called link set. You can have multiple windows scrolling all together. So we're just going to define this as link set A, and you see a little A show up here. Now anything else that you put the same link set A onto, those will now scroll together. Does that make sense? I enter a verse reference here, and they go together. I can do the same thing now on my passage comparison, or say that I open up, like, if you were to have a study Bible in your layout. You see what I just did? I have MacArthur Study Bible here. Put that here. If I wanted to have MacArthur Study Bible scrolling with me as well, I can define that as link set A. And now I've just turned this into a study Bible.
Jacob, we don't have two versions of two churches.
Okay, that's good. So grab up here. Yep, and then pull it to the right until you see it create an outline of where it's going to go. There you go. Down, down, down. There you go. Now, resize the thing. Does that make sense?
And how did you get to, like, say, the John MacArthur Study Bible? How did you find it? You went to the book, or?
Yep, the book. The book is how you open any books.
Okay.
So if you search Study Bible, I'm not sure if you have the MacArthur Study Bible.
Oh, I don't know if I do. I don't have it. You
Just-
have to buy that?
You have to buy
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
You have to buy lots of.
Wait,
Wait,
it says
you have to
a
buy
MacArthur
what?
study series.
The MacArthur Study.
Yeah, MacArthur Study Bible. You can buy. There's lots of study Bibles, or you can use commentary if you wanted a commentary to run. I don't typically do that, but if you wanted to read with a study Bible open, or a commentary open, the Zondervan. If you're looking for a cheap, is it the Exegetical? I just blanked on the name of it.
What is it? It's a study Bible?
Parson Matthew. No, it's a pretty cheap. I'm just trying to remember the name of it. Thunderman, concise. I'll remember it later.
Is it one that's in your priority
There's
list?
yeah, it is actually.
Faith
Thank you.
Life Study Bible?
Faith Life is a free one. You can use that.
It's in the movie you have.
Expositor's Bible Commentary. So the Expositor's Bible Commentary is relatively cheap online and can serve as a good study Bible for you. That's a commentary of the whole Bible. You can get the concise version. It's not just like any study Bible or any commentary series. Some are certainly better than others, but the Expositor's Bible Commentary is very, very good.
There's so many of them.
No, it's a series. So now if you open it, what it does is when you change, see if I set this, and I set it as link set A, this is a study, this is the one on Romans through Galatians, but if I change my verse reference, say to Lamentations, it opens it up to it because those are not parallel resources, those are volumes in a commentary set, and it will honor the set and actually just change you to the different book. So in your own library, you'd have to close that book, go get another one off the shelf. This is like probably a 20,000 page commentary set. You can do the same thing with Calvin's commentaries. They're very, very good for that.
So these cost money?
Yeah, but you own them.
Oh, I have them.
If they're in there, you own them.
Okay, so then you're saying if I click on that, yeah, oh, there it is.
Right, so that's
So then,
does that make sense? How you
if I
put a
brought it
commentary
down, if I
in
bring it
line.
down here, then it's right there.
Right, and now you have a
And I will
commentary.
link it up to A.
Now you have a commentary in line with what you're doing.
Okay.
The thing that will be annoying if you have a commentary, if you're scrolling here, and then you move, you sometimes if you're going to do a lot of reading in your commentary, you might want to turn your link set off for a second. So as you change, it doesn't move your whole Bible with you. But that's a way
Okay.
for quick commentary reference. If you find a commentary, if you're studying a book and you're saying, this is my commentary to go through that book with. I did that with the book of Isaiah. I was having a really hard time with Isaiah, and there's a commentary on Isaiah that I found incredibly helpful. Probably still in my list. Yeah, Book of Isaiah by Young.
Jake, what about the Bible knowledge commentary? Do you like that?
I don't have a ton of experience with it, so I can't. Sorry. And again, that's the kind of things where you will change your own prioritizations as you find things. You can rank your resources with a star ranking, so you can do things like you can come up with your own rating systems. We'll talk about that later, so that as you find resources you like, you can give them a star rating. Filter resources by star ratings. You can tag them favorite. You can put them in favorite commentary collections. You can
Where are the
prioritize
stars
them.
at?
Up in the upper right is where all of the information on the resources. If you're wondering what book am I
Okay.
looking at, you click on the eye,
Oh,
and that will show you a picture of the cover.
there's this one.
You can description. You can rate it however you want and add your own tags.
And then where does that go?
It's tied to that resource forever, and I will show later some things that we can do to. If you were to tag up your library or rate, you can do things like rating of 4. It will show me everything that I have in my library that's a rating of 4. Does that make sense here? Or rating of greater than 3. It'll show me everything in my library that has a rating of greater than 3. Or
Are there any, and maybe this is too long of a
That's
question,
okay.
but I'm wondering if there's any resources in the library that can really steer us away from that are really not worth our while to consult, any authors or.
yeah.
Email us that list.
Yeah.
That's a long list and going to be dependent on your own library. I should probably look through the base packages and come up with some.
Because I can understand some of these we're gonna have to just use and kind of discern, is this a helpful one, does it seem like like it's accurate.
Yeah.
But some of them would be helpful just to know, like, don't even waste your time on.
Okay. Yeah. That would. I think I just steer away from those, so I've forgotten them. But that's actually, I will come up with a good list. And it's hard because there's some sets that are very, very good in some ways. Say like Word Biblical Commentary. It's a critical commentary. It has a lot of information, but in general, it doesn't hold to a view that it's that in most editions that the authors don't believe that it's wholly inspired by God. They don't believe in the sufficiency of Scripture. They don't. A lot of times they'll be doing a lot of text criticism, standing over the text rather than trying to determine what was the original content of the autographic manuscripts, which is what text criticism should be. It's trying to create, like, how did this text come into creation over hundreds of years and stuff like that. So it's Word Biblical is one that's hit and miss. I'll try to come up with a list of those.
Of what?
Of the don't recommend resources, but I think everyone in this room is relatively just. When you start having them question the authority of Scripture, steer away from that resource. All right, so I am going to get rid of the MacArthur Study Bible on mine. I like it. We're just going to come up with a read the Bible only kind of window, though. Say that you wanted to consult 3, though, you could certainly put a different version of the Bible in that MacArthur Study Bible place, like this, or something that you might like to do if you like to look up more than one verse in a row or at a time. This is a helpful thing. I'm going to actually have a Bible down here that's not in my link set A. So say that I want to be reading here, but I want to follow my cross references over in this one. So you see how there's here, there's lots of things, but if I click on Jeremiah 20:18, it changes all my Bibles to Jeremiah 20:18. I don't want that, so I'm going to click this back arrow to go back. Does everyone see that? This is your back on your browser if you accidentally made a link. But what I want to do is I actually do want to see this verse in context that this footnote has. I do want to see it in context. Remember, I can hover over that and it will show it to me in the info window or in the power lookup. But how would if I click on that verse, it's going to open it in my main screen, change all my Bibles to that. I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to choose this window down here. So everybody make your screen look similar to mine. Have your main Bible on the left, a comparison version top, and then your main Bible again, the same version that you have over here, down here. And I'll help you. This is good. This is good for you to quickly set up a layout.
So you said you have.
Now those look like parallel lines next to your passage. Is that their way to make that
Where?
show up?
Over here?
Okay, right underneath the title of your resource,
This?
right there, those little parallel lines.
Uh-huh.
That's not, I don't have those.
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
that something that?
Yeah, so what you do there is you click on your window on this, and you're defining, you're going to show...
They look different on ours, Jake, so it's probably there. It just looks like
It's there.
this.
Let me see yours. I should have downgraded to 5. It's this.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
They're, the round things and your parallel lines are different on mine versus
circles?
if yours is to the right of the circles, you have parallel lines.
Like a straight bar with 2 white vertical lines.
Oh, gotcha. I have that.
But it didn't look like his. Stuck.
So
You what?
Did you get your columns?
But now I want
That you know.
And then,
But did you do your 2 Bibles and set up?
did you put this?
So now I see.
So do you need to drag that down?
Looks like you better open what's your Bible to John.
Yep, now you split, now you're good. Makes sense? And now you're gonna
I can read it.
You can start with next one.
this, this, and
That's the line.
then this. And then you do that same thing. Move that left.
I got it. Not like your scripture knowledge.
And then I want to make your call.
Treasury scripture knowledge is.
So, look at your next.
So is there, I your cross-reference here, or is there one else?
I'll never mind.
Yeah, I have them on.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you that now. I want everybody to be here, 'cause if everyone's screen didn't look like this, they weren't gonna be able to remember what we do. Cause this
There
is,
you go.
we're right now on just basics of setting up your screen and navigating through your
But
library.
the NESB doesn't have cross references, the ESV does,
Yeah,
and I don't see it in the NESB unless I.
so
And you
Denny's
don't want them that way.
has
You want them
cross
the other way.
references.
Does it? Oh, it does, wait, yes.
So just drag it back
So
up.
what you're gonna do is click on your round things. Here, let me go over there. Yeah, those round circles.
But now they're side by side, but you don't want them that way side by side. You want them down.
And hit.
So you
Grab
know,
your
if I
Bible
close
on
this.
top.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Oh,
Make it smaller.
Is that your main
Like right
Bible
here.
up top?
I think
Now
he's
that-
gonna show us what.
Yeah, that's
It's
just
like you
like
actually
it.
type it in.
No,
or
that
Oh,
way
okay,
it's
well, I have
set
to because I show it.
There you go, do that.
I don't,
And now grab one of
I don't
these
think so, but
and drag it. There you go, and put it right up here. Right up here. Right up here. Let go.
sometimes the words are going. Highlighting and then do it to stay out there.
It's because Lamentations doesn't have
Oh.
footnotes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you have it in phones at all?
Look,
Yes.
you wanna have two Bibles?
Alright,
Lost them?
They can't get their columns.
We can't get them side by side, they're like.
yeah, so this is good. So drag it, grab it, and we're gonna get rid of this. Can I get rid of it first? Click down here.
Oh, okay.
So you grab here.
What?
On the bottom?
On the bottom.
How did that start in the
Right
right
place.
place?
That's what we did.
Yeah, but you see how it's highlighted? So now when I get grab your English standard.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, how come if I have this on here, I have links that A, oh, there it goes.
Let's
Yeah,
split
it's
the
just
other
links
dot
that
split,
Oh, yeah.
and now you're good.
There we go.
Alright, so in your layout, what we're gonna do is, if you're reading through the Bible, our layout means we're gonna have our main Bible version over here on the left, with our alternative comparison version up here on the right. And we're gonna have a footnote text down here, or a look at other passages kind of area down here.
So that won't be on A, we take that off.
That is off A. So make sure that you have A on this, A on your comparison text, no A down here. And now on this bottom one, we're at click there, and you're going to say send hyperlinks here. And you're going to have a little target icon on there. So now when you click on a footnote, you can click on any footnote over here, click here, now you don't navigate in your windows, in your main reading windows, you navigate in your reference window. This becomes incredibly powerful. Sam, you might be the only one who likes this when you're reading across like multiple screens. On my setup at home, I have like this screen and then another screen, sometimes a third screen, which is very nice when you can define multiple sets. So that a book that I might be looking at, but I don't throw anyway. You can set up multiple areas where your Bible texts scroll together, move together, or don't. You can have a screen where your hyperlinks go. Logos is taking care of all of that. And this is just stuff that you won't use much, but you want to know is there, because it really facilitates your the speed of your use.
So I want to save this as my Bible reading plan, like
Yeah.
I've got it now with the hyperlink and everything. I just need to go to layout.
Yep, if you go up to your layout and then save it. Now I already have a layout. Remember, I've already opened the layout. You probably do too. You can edit the current layout. If you click up on your layouts menu, 5 might look a little different, and I know 4 looks way different. But if you click on your layout Come on. And go down to my Bible reading plan. You right click on this and you say update to current snapshot. What that'll do is update that current, the way that my layout currently looks. Or it updates the layout to the way it currently looks.
Ours is just the update active, right?
And you have, yours is easier, yours says update active, so I think you can right click as well.
So in 5 you could just click update. That's it.
Yeah, and it'll update it.
Control Alt.
Yeah. Okay? Does that make sense? Everybody there, so this is all just layout stuff. It's good for, hopefully once you get a layout that you love, you're not changing it much, but you'll find over time that you'll tweak what you like.
Do we just only ever have one layout or?
No, you can have as many, I have dozens of layouts. And I have to,
And what is some of them like where you're studying, some where you're
Yeah,
reading? some-
exactly. Like I'll have so one thing when I think I showed you guys this last time. Owen, Sin and Temptation. I'm teaching the John Owen class coming up next time. And I've been reading a lot of John Owen, and this is very helpful. It's going to take a while because it has to close all these books, open all these books. But now I have a setup where I have actually the 2 different versions of John Owen, a Bible. I have my note files and an information window.
And then if you work in that one, then you go back up to layouts and say save it. Or
Yep, save it.
when you're done,
It actually looks
you always
like
have to save it right before you go out of
You
that
want
layout.
to save it before you go out of that layout if you want to keep it in the exact same spot.
And how do you save it again? You just
Update active, I think, is
do that
yours.
save the right
Yeah,
click
exactly, the right
and
click.
update to current snapshot.
And now I want to leave this. So it's nice. This is my, say I'm done with, I actually didn't, I've been a lot farther than this. I apparently didn't update my active layout.
Oh.
Or I didn't do that. That's why it's all the way back here. I've gotten a lot further than this. But
That's what I was teaching.
go to layouts. I'm going to go back to my old layout by going up to layouts. And then back to the Bible reading one where we were, right? Where I was, what was it called? Jacob's Bible reading, I think. Okay. And that information window is incredibly powerful when you are reading stuff like John Owen. I'll show you that some other time maybe if we get to it. But when you're reading something like John Owen, or say Calvin does this a lot, where they'll all of a sudden flip into Greek. If you don't read it or you don't know what a certain word is, you can hover over that word. It will look it up for you in the information window from your prioritized list of lexicons, so that you don't have to just say, well, I don't know what that means, and move on.
See, I didn't understand that until after I had skipped over all your Latin resources, your prioritized resources. I was like, why do I care what the Latin is? And then you explained, I'm like, ah.
Exactly. So
I remember
stick some
that.
Latin because lots of Latin references. I have no idea what a lot of the words mean. It really helps. Latin is nice though. You can usually highlight the phrase and search for it on Google, and it'll have a perfect translation for you. All right. So does everyone's screen look like this, or similar to it? Does anybody have any questions about this, and why we might have a screen set up like this? Good. All right, before we go into highlighting, we're gonna explore the various options on the window. Yours, I wish I had 5 on here. You can't go back, but in your, you have a locator bar, which is this. If you say show locator bar, that shows you where in the book you are. That's not as helpful in a Bible as it is in other resources. So if you're in a book, this will show you what chapter you're in and what subheading you're in. And Puritans in particular, will have 6 or 7 deep of subheadings, and this will show you where in the outline you are. Does that make sense? Or if you're reading a systematic theology, it'll show you that you're in the chapter on the Trinity, the chapter on the Son of God, and the chapter on the Son of God's subordination to the Father, or something like that. Does that make sense? That's the locator bar, but in most cases, this takes up too much space. I get rid of it. Table of contents is the same. It just shows you over on the left. Same information as that, but lets you cycle through it. Again, For a Bible, not really helpful because you know where the Bible is and you don't need to navigate from there. You can just you can just type up in the top. But for some books, that's very helpful. So I'm going to get rid of the table of contents.
Jacob, I see a read aloud
Mm-hmm.
option down there. Does that actually read out loud to you?
It does.
Jacob.
And you can download for
He has
free.
driven and brought me into darkness without any light. Surely against me he turns his hand again
And the way you
again
stop
the
that
whole
is
day
up
long.
here. Up on the upper right.
He has made my
Read
flesh and my
speed.
skin waste away.
And you can see it's
He has
cycling.
broken my
It's putting a
bones.
star
He has
on the
besieged
page.
and enveloped me
where
with
you are.
bitterness and tribulation. He has made me dwell in darkness like the dead of long ago.
If you have a resource that
He
does
has
not...
rolled me about so that I cannot escape. He has made my chains.
Does everybody see that? That is also, if you like an audio Bible, that's very nice. If you don't have the audio Bible on yours, your ESV might not have that.
Now there was a man of the Pharisees.
Right.
named
See how yours is computerized? You can
Oh.
go to logos.com and download. Let's see if I can find it real fast. There is a free resource, a free audio Bible for ESV that you can get, and it is free. And what's nice is that works on your phone then as well. So if you're in the car, you can play a passage. I do that a lot, where as I'm driving, I play a passage, and then I can just glance down. If I'm like, where are we? I can glance down, see the text scrolling, and it scrolls with you.
Just on the ESV.
ESV and the Lexham English are the only ones that have it right now. But Logos has signed. It looks like my internet's not working very fast. But you can find, if you just search for ESV audio and LEB audio Bible, you'll find them. And that will be a resource that's going to be a lot more useful in the near future. Logos has just signed a contract with Christian Audio to where they're going to make a lot of Christian audiobooks interlinear or tied to the text. Actually, John Brainerd from our church was working on the project of creating the audio Bible to make it work for the Android, I think. So, but they're going to actually have a lot of books. So, say, I know that they have Desiring God on Prepub, so that you can listen to it and it will scroll through the text with you. Sometimes I do read books and have the computer voice read it to me. Hearing it sometimes is helpful as I read as well. It keeps me on track. So you're right, that's up there as well. You can feel free to play. Your narrator is where you're going to change from a narrator, David Cochran Heath, or the system narrator, which is the computerized verse. The other things that you have is the interlinear pane, which is this reverse interlinear down here. Everybody open that up. I know a lot of you already had that open as a default. I would recommend you close that as a default. It's the interlinear pane. So up in the upper left, you can say show interlinear pane or close interlinear pane. Or show right here, the show interlinear pane. It's the Shift Control R.
And there's also an icon for it, right?
Yeah, there is an icon for it as well. It's the one that shows. Thank you. It's the one that shows the footnote thing on the pane on the bottom.
Jacob, if I left my info page over here, how did I do that?
It's probably still there, and it's just on a different tab.
Yeah, I know it. I don't see it.
That's it.
That was it. You're just not hovering over anything.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Covered.
All right. So down here, just so you know what this is, because a lot of people I saw had this open as I walked around the room. I wanted to make sure you guys know what this is. This is not interlinear. This shows the data that powers the reverse interlinear. There's really no benefit to having it open, except that you can just at a glance see all of the information that comes up on your right click screen. So for the word flesh, I click here. It's the same information as I get on a hover. If this screen is closed and you hover over it, remember it will show you the Hebrew word on the bottom, the parsing, and the Strong's number. There's really This will just make it go very, very slow if you have that. It's not showing you in Greek word order. It does put a little subscript number, or Hebrew word order. It does put a little subscript number to show you the word order that was in the original language. And my recommendation, you keep that window closed because it just makes Logos go incredibly slow. Okay.
Are there any of those that you would keep?
I wouldn't recommend them for a Bible. Some of those are very useful for other resources. Okay. And if you're on one of the newer versions, you can show interlinear stuff inline on your own. 5 doesn't have this, I don't believe. The new one does. It might be on the display where you can, if you wanted to see an interlinear, you can show it through this button here. Does that make sense up here? I think you guys have it on display, right? So you do, on display, inline. If you really wanted to see, if you were dabbling in Greek and you wanted to see really quick what the word is, you can just unclick everything except for, say, you can just do an interlinear with just the surface, which is the English text, and then the manuscript, which is the Greek word, and then that puts it in, that creates a reverse interlinear for you. And if you really wanted a reverse interlinear, this is going to be a lot more helpful than the Hebrew. This is going to be a lot more helpful than having that screen down at the bottom. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, but I am going to show nothing inline. I'm just going to have Bible text only.
So
Alright.
you just take it off and like the interlinear.
Exactly. And it's sorry, let me see if I can get rid of all that. Click inline. It should go away.
Where's your camera?
Is that one of those where you could just push back and it would go back to what you had up before?
No,
or
it
does
won't.
do that?
Like, that's probably why it's going slow.
Did you set up something to record?
No.
Do you have to unclick the rest of those things? You have to click
I shouldn't have to, but you should just be able to click that inline. I think it's just going really slow. Oh, that's even. There we go. All right. Okay, so we're back here. You can play with this window. The other thing that I did really want to show you is highlighting.
Hey, Jake, I'll tell you one. Mine is, I've got to check on show footnotes on the page.
Mhm.
Do you do that?
You can if you want to.
I mean, do you use that or do you feel?
When you take that off, what that does is, what is that doing? There's no footnotes here. That's going to show you things like, it's not going to show you these cross references. That's going to show you things like when it says this version didn't have it. Like, if you,
No, it's really not a big deal.
it's really not a big deal. And if you have, it's not doing much for us here. So, you see how I have highlighting here? Somebody had commented they didn't want to mark up their Bible. Or you don't want to mark up your Bible if you share it with a spouse, right? You're scared that your highlights are going to be all over your spouse's reading, and it might be annoying. I actually like it when I see Kiki's highlights in her notes. It's cool because you get to see what she's learning. She gets to see what I'm learning. But what you can do is up on your 3 circles. I think yours are colored. This is a visual filter. So what you're basically doing is over the text, you're laying all kinds of things. If I can turn off my note files, all highlights are in note files. So with one click, I could take those off, and any highlights tied to note files are gone. Or I can take specific note files off. So like if
I don't want to see Scott's notes.
exactly. So if you make one called, so if Kiki's reading, she doesn't want to see my quiet time notes. She can unclick that, and then mine will be gone. Similar to me on hers. Or if Sarah, if you wanted to, or anybody wanted to make a similar highlighting palette, and we'll talk about that in a second, you could have Sarah highlighting palette, Scott highlighting palette. You just make sure that you're using the correct palette when you highlight.
Okay.
And then all of your highlights are together, and all of his highlights are together, and you can turn them on and off from this. So you can imagine this as sort of like a overhead projector, like this old those clear printouts that you could lay over a page. You take it away, and now you're not seeing it. You put it on top, and now you're seeing it. And there's all kinds of things in here.
We only have 5 things on ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have.
You'll have a lot more when you upgrade to 6 or when you get some other things.
So, but how do we highlight? Like, how do we do all
Oh, it's because you don't have any highlights yet.
Oh.
I'm guessing,
Oh.
right?
Oh, so if I had, if I
It will
had-
only show you what's applicable to that resource. So if I open a book that I've never used before,
Yeah.
very little will be up there. Like, so if I distinguish traits of a Christian character, I've never read this book, I click on visual filters.
There's fewer options on the ESV than there is on NASB.
Okay.
Sympathetic highlighting.
Sympathetic highlighting, you remember what that is? We'll go over that. That's important. Do you guys remember from last week what sympathetic highlighting was? And this is useful when you have your window like this.
I was feeling sorry for myself.
So sympathetic highlighting, you had said, how do you compare versions really fast? If I want to see where Lamentations 3:15 is, I would highlight right here. And in my other version that has reverse interlinear, it simultaneously highlights. If yours isn't doing that, the reason why is because you don't have sympathetic highlighting enabled.
Now this one, this highlighted here and highlighted here, but not in the ESV.
So you have sympathetic highlighing turned off in
Oh,
one
in
of
this
those
one.
versions.
Oh,
Go to the circles.
Go to the
Oh,
circles.
sorry, the circles, yeah. I hear you. Okay.
And then once you do that, it'll highlight across. The same thing, you can highlight individual words. If you know Greek or Hebrew, you can put a Greek or Hebrew Bible over here, use that. Okay?
But this is a highlight that doesn't stay.
This is a highlight that doesn't stay. This is simply a selecting a text. So he drove, if you see on this, in the ESV, he drove, but I don't see anything over in the NASB. Where is, what's he drove? What's the translation? It actually shows me that the word that was translated he drove over here was translated he made to enter in the NASB. Does that make sense? Because it highlighted just that.
So if I mark up one Bible and then I've got my other Bible over here, how do I get my markings?
Your markings will not.
Over?
You have to choose the highlights are tied to words. They're not tied to the words behind the words, which is sort of nice in some ways. You could certainly wish that it was otherwise as well. I will show you some ways that you might want to use inductive highlights where it will auto highlight in all versions based on the word behind the word. But that's going to be.
So you're saying like when
I think that'll be the last thing we do.
in John 3:4 I put like he cannot enter a second time, and then over here it says can he enter a second time? So you're saying
Correct. It's saying that translation that's coming from the exact same words. I would know that if I hover and I look at my info window, right? It's showing me the exact same thing over here. He has caused to enter. He shot. He drove. He has caused to pierce. He has made to enter. He pierced. It's showing me all my different translations over here. But that's one way that you can do that. So that's helpful while you're reading. You're like, what does that mean? Compare your versions. Okay. Now we're going to do highlighting. Open up a highlighting document. So you go to Tools. You're going to open up your highlighting palettes. So you go to Tools, Highlighting. That will open a panel over on your left. My Tools. Highlighting. Might work.
So I was having trouble with the sympathetic highlight. That's because I had Holman Christian standard.
Yeah.
It's not linked.
Holman
right?
Christian is not reverse interlinear, so sympathetic highlighting cannot work.
I can't read that verse. Where are you in lamentation so that I'm gonna be
313. It doesn't matter. I just opened up any verse. Is everybody able to get your highlighting panel open?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, if you let's use since we have some. So on your highlighting panel, if you wanted to make a text highlighted a certain way, you can have this open. If you select the text, like, I'm going to select the word, "He has made my teeth to grind on gravel." I'm going to select that. Maybe. I don't know why I'm going to select that, but I'm going to. He has made my teeth. What's wrong with my computer? He has made my teeth grind on gravel. If I wanted to select a certain highlight style for that, all that I would do is click on it. So if I wanted to underline that in a pencil, I just go over here, click on that, and now it's highlighted. Those highlights will show across all of your computers. They'll show on your mobile device.
Oh really?
And you can highlight on your mobile device. If you want to remove it, you can select that text and hit erase over here. Or you can right click and say remove highlight or remove annotation. I think yours will be on the right.
Also right.
Yeah, remove annotation.
And it doesn't go to the ESV from the NASB, right?
Correct.
Okay.
This is when you highlight, you're selecting a specific text.
Okay.
So what I encourage you to do is, from the start, set up a meaning for your highlights and stick with it. And what you can do is you can call it whatever you want. Like if you, I have an order. I'm not going to explain it. My highlighting style is sort of weird, but you can call it. You can edit your highlight style from over here. So say that you wanted to edit. Everybody, open up your green highlighting style on your highlighter pens. No, go down to the highlighter pens. So you have multiple. The inductive is nice. So click on this little arrow over on the right. This arrow on the right will let you edit the style. I'm sorry about my computer.
What arrow are you hitting?
If you hover,
The shortcut key.
yeah, that's so restyle annotations is another one. No, don't do that. So this arrow over here,
Yeah.
you can't edit it. Sorry, that was a bad one because that was a predefined style. For something else. Here, let's do shortcut key. I'm sorry. You can't change the predefined ones, but we're going to make some of our own highlighting styles. So on the green highlighter, let's say that you wanted the G key to highlight it green whenever you did it. So click over here, hover over on the right, the arrow comes, click it, take shortcut key down to G. Now if I go over here and select the text and hit the G key on my keyboard, it becomes green. And then you can erase.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Okay, so that makes it so you don't have to have the highlighting window open. You just go through and you can define your own styles. So let's create a panel. Have you guys ever read something and you see a list and you're like, I want to start numbering text? Here's a place where it was helpful for me. I'm going to go to Titus chapter 2. You see how we marked this up? I said, I put numbers next to everybody who Paul was referring to. As for you, so my 1 refers to Titus. So I marked up with a number 1 everywhere where Titus was, it was a command for Titus. Number 2 was for older men. 3 was for older women. 4 was for younger women.
Now, that didn't do that automatically. You had to go through.
I had to do that. I had to go do that. But I'm going to use this example to teach you how to create a markup style. A really helpful one that doesn't come with it is a numbering style. Okay? A style to be able to create, to put numbers into your text. So we're going to go New Palette. I have it here. We're going to create it again. So you click New Palette. And you can do this, you can be as creative as you want. You can put all kinds of pictures next to your text. You can underline your text. They have the inductive, a lot of inductive styles, but if you wanted to edit those or make your own, you can do that.
And that's down here at the bottom where it says untitled.
Yep, so now you have a new thing down on the bottom, and let's call it numbering. Everybody create a new palette called numbering. And once you have that done, we're going to actually create those styles. Yep, rename. No, I'm going to call it numbering for equipping hour because I already have one called numbering. All right. Sorry. My computer's being ridiculous.
That's helpful.
All right, so now let's create that style. So under numbering for equipping hour, or whatever you're going to call it, we're going to create a new style.
Add a new style?
Add a new style, yeah. Why is my computer busy? I did the same thing last week.
Seems to get worse over time, huh?
It does.
Close all the other apps.
Alright, so add a new style. I'm glad that my computer's this
It's helpful to us,
Oh,
like
you
George
kidding me?
said.
I'm loving that your computer's slow down.
Helps us catch up.
Okay?
I know.
I've looked up and said thank you to you several times.
So we want to do add a new style. And let's call this style number 1 or first or whatever you want. Okay? So number 1. Now you can make this however you want. What I want to do is let's make it a different color. We're going to let the font stay the same, but click on this little icon here, and we'll make this number whatever color you want. Let's make it red. So we're just showing you this text up here in this box. It's going to show you what it looks like when you highlight something in this style. And let's insert text.
Ours looks a little bit different.
Yeah, we got font styling back in our test type order.
Okay, so font styling, we should do color. Font styling, it should be, I think it looks the same.
There we go. Okay, gotcha.
So this little box over there, drag it down to a color. You can play with this. You can make your own styles, but all right. And then go down to insert text
It's called label text.
or
for us.
label text. I think so. And insert the number 1, and do it before
Where it says text before?
text before.
Just one? Just the number 1?
Yeah, do
Okay.
number 1. And now we're just doing, you see how it's actually putting the number 1 before that, and you can change the color of that number, and then hit capsule. And what capsule does is it puts that number 1 in a circle. So I've used that in the past. Now I have a highlighting style called number 1. It's under my numbering for equipping hour palette. You see that? And now if I highlight something in that style, let's go over here. I'm just going to highlight something in that style. It's going to be red with a number 1 right in front of it. Just a second. Make sense?
No.
That's okay.
You have
That's
to
okay.
you have to save the style first.
We have to say.
You have to save the style first.
How do you say it?
Up at the top where it says save.
Okay, I see it.
How do you what?
I don't remember how to highlight.
You select a text and then you click on it over on the left. Select a text, now you see in your highlighting panel?
Oh, the number 1.
Yeah. And so what's nice is, you see how I have a whole style here called numbering, where I've done numbers 1 through 10,
Okay.
and I've tied them to the numbers on my keyboard, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay.
So while you're reading, if you're following an author's argument, first point, you highlight that in 1, you highlight the next point in 2, next point in 3. You don't have to use this, but it's an example of what you can do with custom highlight styles and keyboard shortcuts. Does that make sense?
The only thing that I'm not sure is my number 1 still says untitled. Is that what it should be? It's under my numbering number, but should it say untitled?
And then does everybody make your number 1 show up if you hit the number 1? To do that, you go over to the right, the drop down, and you add the shortcut key. Shortcut key, number 1. So to show you some examples of custom highlight styles that I've done, I have one with memory verses. I put a little brain off to the left, highlight it in red. So if I come across a passage and I want to memorize it, I highlight it in that style. Or if I have a question, or as I was studying, I was reading a book on Israelology and I wanted to keep track of who was talking about what. I have covenant on millennialism, covenant post-premill, and dispensational, and I'm like, in the middle of this book, it was really hard to keep track of who is who. So I would highlight different arguments in different colors. Some very helpful. The other thing that you can do is later on, once you have a Bible or a book really well marked up, you can search for the text that's highlighted, or even search for a text that's highlighted in a specific color. You can even create what's called a passage list, and we'll get there. Say if you were highlighting the whole Bible you're making memory verses, or I've created one another. So I went through the whole New Testament, highlighted every one another command. I'll show you later. You can generate a passage list that shows every verse that has that highlighting style in it. So as I read through the Bible in a year, I highlighted all the verses that talked about one another. And then later, after the fact, you can generate passage lists on any of those highlighting.
And then we have to pull all those up all at once.
Pull those all up all at once. So your highlights don't just sit there passively like they would on your dead tree. You can actually have somebody look through it for you and pull all those highlights out. Same thing out if you read a book. You can have all your highlights excerpted, or you can cycle through a resource. I'll show you later. Next annotation. You can run through a book really fast looking at everything that you've highlighted. So highlights are more than just a style on the page. You can do stuff with them.
So back to, what did you do with this?
So you click on that right arrow, on the far right, go to shortcut key, and then select number 1. And then on your own, you can generate, so you can practice this at home. And it's not so important that you make a list of all the numbers, but important you would learn how to create a highlight list.
So then how do I get to my shortcut list?
Push one.
You just push one. Now you don't need a shortcut list. Now it's when you push the number 1 on your keyboard,
Okay.
it will apply that style. So you can do the same thing for like yellow, or if you use the inductive. If you use inductive and you want to have memorize a quick shortcut list, you can just, without having this palette open, apply the inductive styles to your text as you go.
Then push one.
So on this one for like memory verse, like, okay, so I put that in,
Mhm.
and then add a new style,
Mhm.
right? And then you go up here and you click on the font style, and maybe I want to do a different color.
Mhm.
So say I wanted to do green,
Mhm.
and then I save it.
Well, you're gonna want to, yeah, but you didn't title it or anything.
Oh, I did. Well, I have memory verses right here.
Okay. So
Oh.
you could do memory verses. What you created was you created a palette, not a style. You could do that. You could have a palette with all kinds of memory verses on a topic, or memory. But if you just wanted something called memory verses, you'd want to create a style within a palette.
Well, like what I'm saying is that if I was reading and I wanted to memorize a verse,
Mhm.
and I highlighted it and pushed one, and it would
Pushed
highlight.
M.
You're saying that's not the way to do it?
No, that would be great. You just have to create a style called memory verses. So you can do that under any palette that you wanted. You can create a palette called Barb's Custom Highlights.
Okay, so the new palette is Barb's Custom Highlights. Okay.
And then under that palette called Barb's Custom Highlights, now you're going to create a new style called memory verses.
Add a new
And you can
style.
do whatever you want here.
Oh, I see.
Let your imagination go wild.
Memory verses. Okay, so
Okay.
I click, and then I go to the font style and type thing.
Correct.
You added it, you changed the color.
I want it to be.
Now, the last thing I wanted for us to do is I wanted all of your Bibles to actually show the word Yahweh when the Lord was in the text. Do you want me to show you how to do that?
Yes.
It might take 10 minutes, not 5. Is that okay?
Or 15.
Okay. All right. So create a new palette. Do we have any kids?
No.
No, we don't have
Last
any kids.
week, though, I had to pick up Olivia and your mom was in there
Sorry.
looking at me.
So go to make a new palette, and we're going to call this Yahweh or something like this.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot how to make a
Up at the very top of the highlighting screen.
Oh, wait, here.
You understand? Say Yahweh, put in Yahweh.
Sure. Yeah. You could even put it under your Barb's Custom Highlights if you want. It doesn't really matter where it is. I'm gonna cry my computer. I think I haven't restarted in like a week.
And then you do add a new style under Barb's Custom Highlights.
Yep, create a new style under Barb's Custom Highlights.
Okay, so we got a new palette called Yahweh.
Huh?
Okay.
And now under that, create a new style. I'm going to see if I can get to it online.
Put a burning bush next to it.
Sure.
That's why I'm back here.
You can do whatever you want. So I was gonna show you my palette, my style. Good.
Oh, there's no little arrow.
Now create a new style, and we're gonna create a style that says the text Yahweh. So you're gonna want to insert.
We're going to title it Yahweh, right?
Sure. Yeah. And I'm gonna show you how to make this if I can get mine open. Insert. Oh, come on.
Do we save the Yahweh or just wait into
Sorry. Where are you?
right here at Yahweh
Perfect. Now go under font, under
font?
label text.
Oh, label text. Okay.
Label text. Type the word Yahweh. Yahweh, or however you want it.
As text before.
Yeah, text before. Do that.
Yeah, I got two texts before. That just because I just put two things in. Got text before, but
So type Yahweh right there.
It came text before, I'm sorry, what is
So on text before, type the word Yahweh. Sometime when my computer's working better, I'll make a video to show you how to do this.
Why do you say
Yeah, you can do that.
text before, we're gonna say Yahweh.
And then on the font styling, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Font styling, I want you to take that and make it very, very small. And superscript it. That, like the X squared, or you can subscript it. So what that's going to do is that's going to take the text, when you select the Lord, or Lord, it's going to take Lord and make it very small, and actually put Yahweh in its place.
No, it says Yahweh, Yahweh.
Right, because you titled it Yahweh.
Oh.
Does that make sense? So what you're doing is it's applying the text to Yahweh,
Okay.
to the title of the note file.
Okay.
And that's okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Is Yahweh Yahweh?
Yeah, here, I'll just make it clear for you what's going on.
Yeah, that.
Yahweh.
And then I wanted to go there.
Here on the font style, we're going to make it very small. And change your font size. Change your font size to 20%.
Gotcha, oh wow. Okay, so it still says untitled, like I've got Yahweh untitled in my preview, is that what I want? But the untitled is really small.
What he did right here for us, Sarah, and this is right, like we had it up here, he changed the here's Yahweh, and that's the title, and then here's that 20% Yahweh down below.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
markup.
if this were 20%, that was a Yahweh markup?
Yep.
Okay.
It'll say Yahweh markup actually, but yes.
Mine says Yahweh.
And then we're going to do
Sam, is your Yahweh first one? I think Yahweh small.
Why am I?
That's a small
I
piece.
say super yellow. Oh, I say super shoot.
Oh, definitely.
so,
Oh, did you do the text before or text after?
Oh, text before.
You have to go up to
Yeah,
font
that's
style.
perfect.
The label.
That's when you do things smaller.
So all that we've done is we've defined, this is how you would tell your Bible to change the words in your Bible. That's a weird thing, but you can sometimes do it to show the text behind the text. All right, so but what we have to do is we
Save.
have to tell it. Yeah, hit save.
Hit save. Save.
I'm gonna close some of my. I'm gonna quit this. See if that works.
But so far we haven't told it what to do.
We have not told it what to do yet. York, we are going to tell it. I'm sorry, my computer's running so slow. I was going to see if restarting Logos saved it. I wonder if it's because my internet is. I'm sorry, guys. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a visual filter. So under Documents, go to Documents, Visual Filter. And we're going to create two visual filters here. I'm going to do one on Hebrew. So
So should I close my highlighting panel?
no, you can leave it open. It doesn't matter.
Where's document?
Yours doesn't say Documents, right? I think yours says File. And we are going to call this Yahweh, or the Lord as Yahweh, or something like that. Now what I want you to do is open up an Old Testament verse that refers to Yahweh. Let's just open up to Isaiah 6.
Okay, really quick, we look really, really different than you did.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we would write that.
Open up, so new visual filter. New visual filter, new visual filter. This is a powerful new visual filter. All right.
And then
So mine's already changed, but yours won't do this yet. Let me take mine off that does that so that I can show you how it happens.
Yeah.
But the net effect will be exactly what mine is showing, how it doesn't say the Lord when it's not Yahweh, but it does when it is.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So what I want I'm sorry, guys. My computer's being ridiculous. All right, so what I'm going to have us do is click over on, so open up a passage that has the word Yahweh in it, or has the word Lord in it. So Isaiah 6:3 is a good example. And you know when it's all capital Lord, that's Yahweh. So make sure you don't click on Isaiah 6:1, but you're clicking on Isaiah 6:3. So you're going to right click on the word Lord. And go down to the lemma.
Where it says add lemma to word list?
Nope.
No.
And go to search this resource. Okay. So what we just did when we searched this resource, do you see what it did? It just searched your whole Bible for the word Yahweh. But what we're going to do is we're going to actually tell it we want to take all of those references. I don't want to open this and cycle through it. I actually just want it to show me where it does that every time. So copy what it searched for. You see this weird thing where it says lemma equals LBS.
Copy it.
Lord's not in my Bible.
Copy it.
Lord's not my God.
Because you're in the New Testament. Because you're certain you're searching circles. Yeah. So what he was doing is he was searching positions. Search. So
And I'm going to do that. We just have a copyright, and that's where we're at.
it's really bad.
Okay.
Good. So, no. Because we didn't select. So when you select Lord, you have to go down to lemma. This was from last week. So you go down to lemma and now search this resource. So what we just did was I just showed you how to create an instant concordance of your Bible. When you highlight a Greek or Hebrew word, go to lemma and search this resource. You now create basically a concordance entry for that word. That's one thing that we just did. But the other cool thing about it is you can have it show you that concordance entry with any visual filter.
What does that mean?
Any markup style or any highlighting style. We could tell it, let's highlight the word Yahweh in yellow. Or we can tell it, let's highlight the word Yahweh with our new markup style that we made. So you want to, go back to your visual filter.
So we copied this lemma.
Yep, copy that lemma
and do
equals,
what? And do what?
go back to your visual filter screen. Remember how we just made a visual filter called Lord is Yahweh?
Okay.
Under documents, does everybody remember that? Just a second.
Oh, and put it under find or formatting.
Stick it under find. So paste that under find, and then under formatting, scroll down to that style.
What is it that, I think when I set up my, highlight that custom Yahweh thing, I don't think I quite understood what I wanted to look like. I want Yahweh in all caps in regular size font, and then what is it supposed to be in this super script of 20%?
No, that's because it was going to change the word. See,
Yeah, see, I
change the word.
So is he being copied?
So you could say,
I think so.
You're copying that code. It's like the caret lemma equals right click.
Right hand maybe. There's lemma.
See what the English text was.
Yeah.
You just made it go on fire instead
But
of
it still says Lord.
right. Because you didn't change it to.
Visual filter.
That's what it
Paste it.
That's what it's called. This is highlighted.
And change it. Sweet. See that?
Jacob,
So-
Denny does not have like the Lord as Yahweh the way that I have.
So
Oh, I
this
got
super
it.
script was what?
Did he create a highlight style?
Yeah. You can make it make sure it's good.
Okay, so I told it to find all the words and where it found the word to do this, but how did it know to say Yahweh? Here it said Lord, here it said Yahweh, so I just
Okay, so now you created a markup.
text.
Because you told it to use all at 20%.
Yeah.
I thought I did too, but
And
I
then
must.
under formatting, now you find
Mine was
the.
different.
So I know that can be a little bit. That can be a little bit weird. Like, does that make sense? What we just did?
Yes, but
Is it gonna save it?
Yeah.
I don't want it to save.
You don't have to do that.
Okay.
So what you can do is you can turn it off and on. You don't ever have
That's
to
so
use
cool.
it.
How do you do that?
And I'll show you how. If you wanted to see it or you don't want to see it. How you do that now is under your three circle things. Right back under your three circle things, you have visual highlights down at the bottom, and you can turn off and on that new style that you did.
Where is it at? Visual highlights.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't have that.
I don't either.
Yeah, scroll down, oh, we got the
Oh,
bar.
very well.
It's at the very bottom. I want to show you one more thing now.
Oh, the Lord is Yahweh is right there. I
Yeah,
see
does
it.
that make
Okay,
sense? And you turn
it
it off and on, and then
And why
it'll
would you
change
turn
it.
it off and on? Just-
They said they didn't want to see it, or you could just delete the file if you don't want to use that. We'll start the next class with overlaying things like.
Jacob, or do I just get out of this then? Just
Yeah, if you just close that,
now you're
it's
done
saved.
and did it?
Yep.
So everywhere where it says Lord, it will say Yahweh in my Bible now?
If it's Yahweh, but you'll see it now in, say, in Isaiah 6. You
Right
see,
there, I
in the
see it.
year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting upon a throne.
Yeah.
But it's going to clearly show you now, which this is one that you can see because it's the all caps, but it just shows up.
And it just, mine has like Lord in brown, like a little brown square.
Right.
And Yahweh next to it, okay.
And the reason why the Lord is in the little brown square is because it's you searched for it. If you close that search window, that'll go away. Okay. So we're going to start the next class with making some other visual highlights to help make a text nice to see. I'm going to give you a glimpse of it so you know what's to come. I created a visual markup that takes every imperative in the New Testament or every imperative in the Hebrew Bible, and I changed the text to green. I can take every participle and change the text to gray. You can take every plural pronoun, plural second person pronoun, and change it. You can make it say y'all, or change the color, or put plural above it. You can do some things where the English text might not be obvious. It'll show you. So if you see in Ephesians, I have right now the markup on that shows my gray words are all participles. So I know that those are not the main verb of the verse. And I can also see as I scroll down through Ephesians, there's only one command so far. In Ephesians 2, there's still no commands. No commands. No commands. And you're going to start to see in Ephesians 4, Paul's going to start going crazy with commands.
That would be really helpful.
At some point you will. Unless I... Computer. Yeah. Your logos crashed. So you see now, we're gonna learn how to do this next time. This will be the start of the next class, where now all of the command words are in green. You can do that with visual filters. The other thing that you can do, so see how I have the Lord is Yahweh over here? In this you can quickly tell it anytime where say the English word first appears, or the English word second appears, put that markup on. You basically tell it run all kinds of searches in the background. Search for parts of speech, search for words, search for anything, and I want you, computer, to mark it up for me. So I can say anytime where the word first appears, I want you to put the number 1, or that one. Sorry, I won't show you because this is going to take forever. But you can basically tell it, search for anything. When you find it, I'm going to tell you how to mark it up. Does that make sense? So that gets to be very, very powerful. I think one of the most helpful passages for this is Romans 12, where it looks like these are a whole bunch of commands. You see down in, I gave this example at the end of the last class. I think most people have left. Let love be genuine. Abhor what is evil. Hold fast to what is good. Love one another with brotherly affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. Those sound like imperatives. They are in English, but you wouldn't see in English that those are not actually imperative Greek verbs. They're participles. Participles can be used. They can have an imperatival sense. They can be used like a command. But you can see quickly here, when you see a participle, you actually should just add, you can add an ing in your mind to help you understand the English. So it could be, let love be genuine, abhorring what is evil, holding fast to what is good, contributing to the needs of the saints. And now in verse 14, he jumps into a bunch of commands, but it's not, it'll help you see that everything in here is not coordinate. Bless is not coordinate with rejoice, or living in harmony with one another. Rather, living in harmony with one another is probably subordinate to the command to bless. You see how you have command and then a whole bunch of participles, then he goes back to commands. It'll help you. If none of that makes sense, we can talk about it afterwards, but I see lots of up and downs, which is telling you this can help you expose on the face of things. It can help you see outlines in texts that might not otherwise be obvious on an English-only reading. Make sense? Cool. We will start the class next time with how to do that, and I will make videos of how I did the Yahweh thing, how you can search in text for like first, second, third, fourth. I'll show you how to make those, and I'll make a video of how to make how to do the overlays of like imperatives, second person. I'll do all of that in advance so you can start playing with it. And we'll start the next class with that. And I am so sorry about my computer. I'll try to troubleshoot it next time.
You were very patient with that.
I definitely have.
It's 7:30. And if anything that we covered today doesn't make any sense, or you want me to show you again, please send me an email. Let me know.
It's a wrap.